All right, welcome to episode 100 of the At Bat podcast presented by War Media in partnership as well with Sports Zone Chicago. Want to welcome our guys as always, Miles Porter, as well as the one and only Shy Kid, Mike Hughes. How we doing, guys? How we doing, Miles?
Hey, doing good. Jed, you said a lot of nothing, and we'll touch on it. We'll touch. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, we got to say, we got to point this out. Miles is at work, so appreciate him joining us wherever he may be. He's out here grinding, and he'll be with us for a few moments. Mike, how you doing, bro?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Still probably spending the next 30 to 65 days waiting for Cody Bellinger just to make a decision that I hope he makes. But other than that, just the edge of my seat. The edge of my seat.
No, yeah, bro. And we'll start with that. We don't have much time today. I won't lie. So
Sure.
we'll break into with the Cubs and Chicago baseball. Gabe isn't with us today, so we won't go too much into the White Sox. But we have the whole offseason, and we've talked plenty of White Sox anyways. Of course, as
Yeah.
they had the most losses in modern era this season. But talking about the Cubs, I mean, we'll start with you, Miles. Like overall, your thoughts on the whole press conference because there's a lot to break down there. But really, the one comment I feel like people were echoing throughout social media was the whole thing about like guys have to outdo their projections,
Yeah,
which is a little odd because what it sounds like to me, what it sounds like to fans probably is we have to get guys that are aren't superstars and they have to play like superstars. Like, so it doesn't really make any sense to me. But and I know you said you can't go full off. Of course, you're at work, so go ahead on your thoughts on Jed Hoyer's postseason press
God,
conference.
God bless my amazing colleagues right now. Um, Look, man, the whole projection thing didn't make like I get what he was trying to get at, and then he kind of added to that point where it's like we gotta figure it out internally, and then he made some weird comments about we gotta figure it out externally. It's like I agree that we have a lot of good pieces internally, and I really want to see these young players come up and perform. But I also believe that there's still things that we need to address externally.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to like we have the pieces that we need within the organization. I'm excited about these prospects. I have nothing but great things to say. But we still need to add some pieces outside of that. And so that's where it gets frustrating. It's kind of dull to hear. Like we get it. You're very happy about where the organization is going, blah, blah, blah. Whatever we've been rebuilding for 4 or 5 years at this point. I don't know. It doesn't mean much to me. I want to see these prospects come up. Um, and I want to see this add to this team the way you're supposed to.
Yeah, no, it was frustrating to hear some of the things he was saying, but it's also at the same time from a certain perspective, obviously he doesn't want to dish out his plan for the offseason. I get that,
Hmm.
but it's like,
Yeah.
what is there to say there? But Mike, what were your thoughts, man, on just the whole press conference and all that? Because I've been waiting to hear what you got to say about that. You mentioned a little bit of Cody Bellinger in there,
Yeah.
and he was asked about that. So what did you think about the press conference that Jed Hoyer gave, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm praying to God that Cody opts out, and I think that's where I'm at, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy because a calendar year ago, I was saying Jed should be fired if Cody isn't back. But that was really just more so because of the season that we saw, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, is Cody back or is Cody not back?
Mm-hmm.
And what like MVP Cody we're looking
Yeah.
at, so it's like now we have a full year to see that. We see Kevin just got called up. It was really incredible to see him get the opportunity. El Jaguar doing his thing. The cleanest glove in the game. So to see him there, to see PCA have the season that he had, knowing Owen Casey is knocking on the door, and when you have Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki with no trade clauses, you kind of do hope that Cody just opts out because somebody's going to be stuck in Des Moines, Iowa,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, regardless. And it's going to be Owen or it's going to be Kevin. So if you can get Cody out, that does free up some room for one of those guys to get everyday opportunities. And for me, you know, I'll ask you guys who didn't meet their projections because that's what I'm so like because who didn't? Because
Mm-hmm.
Nico started off really slow, but he ended up finishing around 270, 280. That's who he is. 7 home runs. I mean, the man hit 25% of his home runs in one game. Like, I mean, it's crazy. So I look at it, and Miles, I always give it to Miles about Ian Happ, but Ian Happ put together a season that Ian Happ always puts together. So
Yep.
that nothing surprised me. Dansby, if you ever thought Dansby was going to bat over 260, you just never watched Dansby Swanson. Like, so I don't know I don't get it. I don't get
Mhm.
who didn't meet their projections. Mike Imanaga is out here as a Cy Young candidate, and you got him for 50 mil. Justin Steele, I guess you could say whatever, but after the wake the fuck up comments, I think Justin
Mhm.
Steele is the last person I would be talking about if I'm ever in a press conference because that man is scary. But yeah, I just didn't get it because like for the ball club that you put together, all of those guys were who they are, and even guys like Miguel Amaya. I mean, hey, he had himself a day. We took a 30-year-old catcher that no one knew the name of, and he had 7 RBIs in one game. So what do we like? Who didn't meet projections? The only person that didn't meet the Theo Epstein standard was Jed Hoyer, and that for me was you're the only person that didn't meet your projection because Otani was there, Juan Soto was there, all these different guys were there, Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, and I was looking at Christopher Morel at third base for the first half of the year. And in the second half, Izak is great defensively, but he looked just like Chris too, offensively. And that's the problem. So that was where I was at. The projections thing, I kind of just was like, well, who like
Mhm.
Michael Bush just had an amazing year. So who Seiya Suzuki finishes batting in the 280s. So who was asked? P. Crow Armstrong is out here just stealing bases like he's playing GTA 6 before anybody else. I don't know. That's where I was at. The only person that didn't meet projections to me, I guess you could say Adbert, you could say Craig Counsell, and you could say Jed Hoyer. Other than that, I think everybody else had a good season.
Yeah, yeah, because even like you had to you were basically hoping the only guy that I feel like he was talking about there, if I had to pick one, is Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
You needed him to outperform what he did, what he did last year for the Cubs to even have a chance. I feel like he wanted, everyone wanted him to be a superstar. Like he's just not anymore. Like
Yeah.
even last year, sure, he carried the Cubs in the summer. It was him, Seiya doing work, but it's like he's not, unfortunately, as we saw this year, he's not that player anymore. Like he just
Mm.
isn't. He's a good
And
baseball player, but he's not a star anymore. It's just reality.
right. And I think for me, like, because I know we don't have too much time on
No, yeah,
Cubs,
yeah. Uh-huh.
and I want to hear Miles's rant, but I was so ignorant to statistics. And, Cody bats 300 last year, Gold Glove defense at first and
Hmm.
center. Awesome. But what I always heard on Marquee or anywhere else, they would talk about how his exit velo was the lowest it had ever been.
Yep.
And he's not hitting home runs like he used to, 25 plus home runs. But I was like, whatever. He still hit 20 home runs. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's getting older. No one cares
Hmm.
about exit velo. And then this year he gets less than 20. So and the
Hmm.
exit velo is even lower. So for me,
Yep.
I guess I'll eat crow really quick on the show because
Hmm.
it's like I do think maybe that did play a part into it. He did hit less home runs this year.
Hmm.
Maybe he's just not as strong as he used to be.
Yeah, no. I mean, no, you're right. I mean, like last year, or in 2023, he got super lucky compared when you look at
Yeah.
the stats. And everyone was saying regression, regression, regression. And I was like, sure, regression's fine. If we're talking like 200, 300, on the OPS scale, that's fine. I'll take 800, or 820 OPS compared to what he had last year. I'll take it. But
Mhm.
obviously he didn't do that. It was mid 700. So that's the one thing. But Miles, I know you have to go soon. So you have anything else on the Cubs that you would like to say in general of this whole situation?
Please, Miles, please speak for the people.
Man, I'll say the rest of it for next week.
All
But dude, I mean,
right.
I'm definitely at a point where I'm sort of tired of hearing Jed's very dry rhetoric. It's a very dry, like the sound of his voice irritates me. That's where we're at. Like the raspiness of how he's talking about this team and how dude, we had the same record 2 years in a row. You want to talk about
Mhm.
you feel we're in a good place? Well, yeah, it angers me that we have pieces and you're not really utilizing them correctly, and then that there's pieces out there you can add to the current pieces and you're not doing anything about it. Yes, we have what the seventh, ninth highest payroll in baseball. Amazing. Why the way you're spending the money, the way you're allocating the money is so infuriating. But all I'm saying is that if you think about wanting to save your job a little bit, give these. I just don't know how much the current players sort of buy in as much as they say they are. They
Yeah.
voice their frustrations. They deserve better. The fans deserve better. I'm very proud of every single player on this roster that we watched this year. I'm just sick and tired of seeing Jet with this very okay sort of mindset. He's just like, okay, cool, we'll throw it out there. That'll be good enough. Yeah, okay, whatever. That'll be good enough. We'll give this guy and do something. It's annoying to watch. Um, I got more for you next week.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it, we talked. It's funny because we've basically summed up all the stuff that we were talking about all season long. How frustrating it is. All the stuff we hear from Jed. All the stuff we hear from Craig. This and that.
Oh, Tucker
Um.
Barnhart.
Yeah. I know. And all those signings like Eric Hosmer and Trey Mancini.
What are you
I love
doing?
Tucker
Um.
Barnhart. I love Tucker.
Yeah.
What? Hey,
I'm
shout
sure
out Tucker Barnhart.
I'm sure he's a great guy,
It's just
but
weird
on
that
the
we
field.
still owe him money. Like, what are we
Hey,
like? How are we spending this money, bro? It's not.
greatest catcher I've ever seen, man. 14 innings against the Marlins. Tucker Barnhart showed up. So shout out to him. Shout out to him.
The best game I ever seen Tucker Barnhart play was when I used him on MLB The Show.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
yeah. So
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love Tucker Barnhart on the show.
I've actually never gotten I've never gotten a hit with Tucker Barnhart in the show. I can't lie.
Bro, Jan Gomes rolled the bench for me, bro. Tucker was my guy. I don't know
Yo,
why.
yeah. Jan Gomes. I don't like his stance on MLB The Show. I can't hit with him. So
I don't
Yeah,
like it.
no,
same with Miguel
yeah.
Amaya, but that's kind of realistic.
You
I
don't get me
don't
started on
yeah.
MLB The Show. I'm at work.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rant.
Yeah. That's a whole nother rant. But Miles, you still good on time, or what you think?
Like 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay, bet.
10 minutes. Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into obviously the MLB postseason is out there without Chicago baseball anywhere near it. And it's been pretty badass the first couple of days. We're watching. We've had a couple of back-to-back wild card days with 4 games. And some crazy stuff has already happened. Honestly, the biggest story I would say is probably the way the AL is shaping out with the Tigers taking out the Astros and the Royals taking out the Orioles. In the NL, the only game 3 being played today as we record on Thursday is the Brewers Mets, and then of course the Padres took out the Braves 2-0. Hey, I will say this, and there's a tweet to prove it. I did pick the Royals to go to the World Series. And they got 1 down, a couple series to go. So we'll see. They got to take down the Yankees, which in the playoffs actually in the last 10 years plus is not impossible. But we'll break down what for you guys what has been like one of the more not necessarily surprising, but things that have stood out in these first 2 days of the wild card series, because there's been a ton and a lot of good baseball. And unfortunately, the Brewers are playing Brewer baseball at the right time, where like they just come back and they take down the Mets and stuff like that pisses me off. But we're here, and we're in the wild card series. So, Miles, your thoughts?
The story going on in Detroit is awesome, man.
Yeah,
It is awesome. I am so invested in this team. Just man, what's going on with Detroit sports right now, bro? The Tigers, the Lions. Golly, we don't need to mention the Pistons and on the Pistons.
yep,
Listen, man, I'm very intrigued by the Tigers, and for them to sort of handle the Astros the way they did, that gives them a lot of confidence going into this next series. And so
mm,
I really think that's kind of what's standing out to me. And I'm curious to see how this Brewers Mets series is going to unfold, because the Brewers, as much as they've been winning this division, they've had no success in the playoffs, regardless of how they're sort of stomping out the Cubs in the Central.
yep.
Brewers get to playoffs, they're not making any noise. So that'll be interesting to kind of see unfold as well.
Yeah, no, I think game 1 of that series, the Mets and Brewers, I was like, here we go again. Brewers gonna get eliminated, and they can still get eliminated. But the point is, they were playing like Brewers, usually doing the playoffs. Either they going into yesterday, they were 1-9 in their last 10 playoff games. Now they're obviously 2-9 in the last 11. But they had a big game when they needed him most. Churio is Churio, and unfortunately, that like we're seeing why this dude was one of the top prospects in the game, let alone the Brewer system. So unfortunately, that's gonna he's gonna play a big part, I'm sure, in this game 3. But Mike, what about you, man? Anything in particular that you've really liked about this wild card round? Because like I said, there's a lot. I mean, look at the Orioles;
Yeah.
they're out. Royals took him out. Bobby Witt, Bobby Baseball is inevitable, bro. He's got the 2 go ahead RBI hits. Yeah. What have you liked about this first couple of days of playoff baseball, man?
Man, I love it. I think it's
Mhm.
been great. I'm actually like I'm debating going to game 3 tonight with my girl's
Yeah.
brother. But I was like, I saw Chicago's own Bree Delio was in the parking lot for like 2 hours last night, just trying to get out of there. So I was like,
Oh,
it's
jeez.
it's not like Wrigley where you're parked like 3 blocks,
Hmm.
4 blocks down. It's like, I'm not really trying to deal with all that. So I was
Hmm.
like, maybe not. But
Got
oh
12, they
my
got $12
God,
tickets, man.
you see me, Miles. You see the ring. The boys sent it to me. You like what you see. You like it. Shout out Lindor. Shout out Nimmo. I was down in the championship game. What do we see? What was it? So it was game 161, I believe,
Yeah.
of the doubleheader. Mets clinched the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was my playoffs for
That
this
was your
year.
World Series, Mike's
Um,
World Series.
Man, it was my first fantasy baseball championship. Shout out Lindor, so I'm rooting for them the rest of the way. But what I will say is this, I'm a Mike Powers is my guy. He was born in New York, um, diehard Mets fan, and we talked at the beginning of the year about how this was
Hmm.
a rebuilding year, and they understand that 2025 is kind of the staple of when they're going to
Yeah.
start being competitive, and they're playing with house money. And
Hmm.
for them to be able to do what they've done this year it it shows you everything you need to know. And what I
Hmm.
mean by that is, we talk about it all the time, is who is the face of the Chicago Cubs? I still don't know. I would say at this point in time, I'm giving it to Shota Imanaga, and he hasn't
Hmm.
even been here for a full year. So,
Yep.
when you bring in Lindor, that's a guy who's going to go to bat for you. That's a guy who's going to rally the troops. When you have a Pete Alonso, these are guys that are going to win you games. So to see that and to see them really going out there and doing what they're doing, it kind of makes me feel some type of way about our Cubbies, because it's like no way the Mets are doing better than us. No way
Hmm.
that a team with less than $20 million in the payroll in the Detroit Tigers went 31-11 in the second half of this year, and the Chicago Cubs shit the bed with the ninth highest payroll in baseball. Like that for me, that's when I get frustrated, and that's when we start to have conversations about, okay, cool, Craig Counsell's great, but what are you doing to be different than David Ross? Because right now it's been nothing but the same, and I think that's really what it's going to come down to for me is the adjustments that we see from the Cubs. But for the playoff side of things, I know we're back into the playoffs. I love what we're seeing from the Mets. I think they got that dog in them. They got that fight. It's a lot of fun. The Tigers, hey, shout out Javi. I don't know if he has a hit yet in the postseason, but shout out Javi.
He's not, no, he's
Don't.
not even on the roster, my boy. We got
Oh
he's
my God,
RIP.
I didn't even. No way.
Yeah,
Is
Wait, I
yeah.
thought
Javi
that was
off
a
the
part of the
roster?
joke.
No,
I thought that was a part of the joke.
he's injured, but he's I don't know how much I believe that, but he's injured. So he's done
Oh,
for the
El
season.
Mago. No El. He's
Yeah,
done
yeah.
for the season?
Yeah, he's done for the season. He's not coming back. They got, yeah, they got Trey Sweeney out there.
Wow. El
Yeah. It's
Mago.
rough. It's rough, bro, for
Yeah.
Mago. It's rough out here.
They really said, yeah, bro, go do your little dance in Chicago and get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it's tough. I honestly I remember people were talking about how uh when are they gonna DFA him like in the next couple of years, and I'm like,
I think
damn.
they need
I
to
mean,
eat just a little bit more of that contract, and then you can do it.
yeah, because that's the thing. If you do it soon, that's gross. Like the amount
Yeah,
of money you're gonna have to eat is nasty. Same with the Chris
yeah,
Bryant thing, because Chris Bryant, there was rumors too that he was gonna get DFA'd in September. And it's like,
yeah,
dude, that's like so much money that the Rockies are gonna
yeah.
have to
Well,
eat.
I have stuff we could definitely talk
Mm.
about it off air. We could talk about it
Uh-huh.
on air too, but I know we don't have time. But Chris, I've talked to guys on the Rockies.
Uh-huh.
Chris don't want to fucking be there, and he's making that
No,
very
yeah,
clear.
he basically said that. He was like
Yeah,
he didn't do enough research to go to like
yeah.
before he went there, and like yeah, that's a whole thing, bro. And I mean
Yikers.
I feel bad for bro, but at the same time it's like
Nah,
You know,
fuck that. I don't feel bad for him.
you know, hey, no, that's what I was gonna say. It's like you also chose to go there. I mean, you
Yeah,
chose to
no.
go there. You know, nobody made you go anywhere.
You left us.
So
Fuck you. No.
hey, I mean, if that was Chris Bryant's future, though, I would have rather him leave anyway. I mean, the only guy that, like we always said this, the only guy that we that shouldn't have left is Anthony Rizzo, and
Sure.
that's a no.
Oh,
Kyle's never. I don't think Kyle was gonna succeed here, bro. Kyle was never gonna succeed here.
sorry,
Yeah,
mom.
I know. Yeah, no, Kyle was never gonna succeed here, bro. Let's be real. Like come
I
on,
think he
you were.
would.
Nah, I don't think so. Look, bro. You look at it just didn't work. I don't get it. I don't know what understand what it was. But we
Well, he was
cannot.
playing left field the entire time. I think that's what it was. You know what I
No,
mean?
but
I think I don't know.
I would. Hey, I wish, but I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, if he couldn't have figured it out in that span of time, I'm like, you know what? Just go off somewhere and succeed, bro. Because I'll root
Just
for
go
you.
be great.
It's like Justin Fields. I'm like, I don't care where you go. Just like I'll root for you, bro. I don't. You can
Just
gotta
be
be Tom
great.
Brady.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
else and win, bro. I'll be
Oh
proud of
yeah.
you, and I'm proud of Kyle Schwarber. I'm rooting for him from afar. I want the Phillies to go ahead and win the World Series. That's okay. Bryce
He's
Harper's
the
there
ex
too, so
that's
that's fine.
glowed up.
What'd you say?
He's like the ex that glowed up after the breakup.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
been there, brother, man.
But anyways, when it comes to the Phillies, we'll see them soon on starting in the division series.
Yeah.
But moving ahead now to like the division series that are gonna start with the teams that are they're the series that are already set, I should say. You got the Tigers and the Guardians, you got the Royals and the Yankees, and of course you have the Dodgers and the Padres, who like that one is gonna be spicy.
Gonna be
And
a lot of
everybody,
fights at the games,
yeah.
brother. I'm gonna tell you
Oh
that.
my. You're gonna go on Twitter and just see like four dudes just freaking like just beating each other up, and it's gonna
Ass
be
cracks out. Like what? Like
yeah. What's up with that? That always happens. I don't know, like, bro,
everybody's
pull up
ass
your
is always
pants.
out when they're fighting, bro. I don't get
Like
it.
just wear belts, bro. I don't get it.
Nah, we don't
But
do that.
yeah. Oh well, but Miles, what a postseason series. I mean, I know the easiest one, the division series one, the Dodgers and Padres. I mean, you can talk about that one. That one's probably the most hype one. But uh, which one appeals to you more when it comes to like the Tigers and Guardians and Royals and Yankees? Because they are goofy, and I've seen a lot of people make fun of the Tigers and Guardians one. Like I saw someone say that it's gonna be on Disney XD.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
That's crazy.
but for sickos like us that love baseball and watch baseball, no matter who it is, we'll watch a Rockies, A's game in August. At least I'm watching that.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, that series is still gonna be badass. So I'm still
Lawrence
looking forward
Butler.
to that.
I could get behind that,
Yeah, Lawrence
honestly.
Butler. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I could get behind
But
him.
Miles, what do you think about these division series? The ones that are already set.
No, I think it's unlikely. But if the Royals kind of give the Yankees that work, that's going to
Yep,
be a fun story,
dude.
bro. I just don't think the Royals are going to go down very quietly. A lot of these wild card teams over the past few years, when we've introduced this new format,
Mm-hmm.
they've
Yeah.
gone pretty far. The Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year. They're one of the
Yep.
wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out. I mean, the Yankees could sort of bounce this team, but also the Yankees are they're kind of a dramatic team.
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever fans Verdugo is struggling, then all the fans get on him, and then they're mad at LeMahieu. It's just I don't know. I question how like I don't know. I feel like the Royals might be giving the Yankees some work, and I would see that Padres and Dodgers series is going to be very fun to watch. So I got my eye on those specifically, and I really want to see Mets Phillies specifically for that other division series. I don't really want to see the Brewers move on, not because I'm a Cubs fan. I just think Mets Phillies same division, they're rivals. That'd be cool.
Yeah, no, Mets have a better chance of being the Phillies, and the Brewers have a chance
Yeah.
of being the Phillies.
OMG.
And that's not even being biased, it's reality. I mean,
Yeah.
the Mets have been playing better baseball.
Yeah.
They're like they know the Phillies. It's like, that's the way I
Cubs
see it.
would be the Mets.
Of course, 100%. It should have been. Could have, should have,
They
would.
got all that personality, they got Jose Iglesias singing songs and stuff. They got
Yeah.
Willis and everything. The Cubs are
What's
just-
up with yeah, dude, New York and music. Like they got Pitbull remixing Jose Iglesias OMG now. That's true. Like that's just like that's actually true. Like I
Yeah.
had to look that up 3 times. And then you got El Alfa, the artist, out here, making a song for Juan Soto for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's just a freaking banger, and the edits are
Hey,
already going crazy on that.
and don't forget the GOAT though. Like we're about to see playoff Edwin Diaz music, and I'm really
Yeah,
excited for
oh
that, man.
yeah,
When
true.
he
Yep.
comes in,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, man. Tonight we're all Mets fans, man. Tonight we're from Queens.
Oh my God.
But Mike, what about you, man? Any of these division series that pop out to you? Obviously, like I said, the obvious is the
Yeah.
Dodgers and Padres. That's gonna be crazy, on and off the field. But any of the other two kind of pop out to you, and anything that interests you?
Yeah, West Coast doesn't really interest me. It's just ghetto. It's just, I don't know, I'm not digging it. Not digging it. I don't like the fan bases. It's a little ghetto. I don't want to rock with that. So that's where I'm at with it. And I think Miles just texted us and said he got kicked. So I promise he's just not staring at us in a certain way. Um, he do be looking at me a little
Hell
crazy
no.
though. I can't
Yo, we're
lie.
just gonna leave it, bro. We're just gonna leave it like that. Oh man,
Aw.
I was like, we're just gonna leave it like that. Have people watch this and be like, "What
Yeah.
in the world?"
Why is he staring at me?
Oh my
Um,
god! All
No, but in
right,
all
but yeah,
seriousness, though, Otani in the playoffs for the first time is incredible. Can't wait to see magic. I mean,
mhm.
it's crazy. I'm not a betting man, but wouldn't it be crazy if he didn't do well in the playoffs? Like, what if he was historically horrible? Like,
Oh
wouldn't
my
that just be
god!
the way baseball goes? Like, you imagine what LA fans would say. But I do think he's gonna have a great playoff series. I'm really excited to just see what happens between the two. But like Miles said, I'm really in on Mets versus Phillies. It's oh my God versus Dancing on My Own, and it's like a whole thing. And I love Dancing on My Own. I kill for October just to see that song come back around. Um, but yeah, man, it's always a great time, and I think Mets Phillies will be a lot of fun, especially because I got a lot of my buddies from New York who work at iHeart Philly. So like, they're like they have to hear it all day long from people from Philly, and they're still Mets fans deep down. So like, it's really cool. Um, yeah, I think that matchup is I mean, it's what we wish we were. You know what I mean? We wish we were
Hmm.
currently in Game
Yeah.
3 against the Brewers, going to Wrigley North with Craig Counsell with us. Like,
Hmm.
we got your sister with us now. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, and so that's I don't know. I'm excited though. I think there's a lot of really dope matchups.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I think that yeah, I mean that's definitely what I've been thinking this whole time is like the Cubs should have been there playing, but unfortunately,
Sure.
they're out here. I mean, you look at the AL Central is really out here, dude. I mean, the Tigers,
Out here.
Royals, like it's crazy, and the Guardians, like the White Sox are just So I saw somebody tweet out like the only reason the White Sox were bad is because they were playing the big mighty AL Central.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
No.
I mean,
Hey.
hey,
Hey.
hey.
I mean, and the Twins were decent too for
Yeah, the
some
Twins are
time. So
decent too.
like, yeah, like
Like,
maybe,
I mean,
maybe.
they probably still, even without those AL Central losses, they probably still have like 98. But hey, either way, don't
Oh
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
It's better than 120 something. I mean, damn.
Yeah,
We're
for
we're
real.
coming up on Gabe's age over here. Like that's
Yeah,
crazy
no,
work. No.
oh man, no, but yo, looking at what I want to talk about too before we dip out is
Yeah, yeah.
the losers, the guys that have already went home, like the Orioles, like the Braves, and the Astros. Any thoughts on those guys? Because you look at the one for me that was my personal favorite that left. And I'm laughing at him. I'm not gonna hold back. It's just reality that it's funny to me that they're out already. Is the Orioles. It's not the Astros because I know everybody wants the Astros to be out, but it's the Orioles for me because when you don't do enough to build a winning team, when you have all the pieces to do so, you're gonna lose. It's just It's just the facts, bro. And they don't have enough starting pitching. They haven't. They just don't have. They need some more in there to like get over the hump. I mean, 0-4 in their first two postseasons together as a team. That's crazy because this is a team that's supposed to be like a juggernaut and like out here winning the World Series.
Mm.
And they can't get out the first round, so they're done though. The Braves, for example, we kind of already knew that they were going to be out in the first round. Like they're just not fully healthy. Chris Sale, I mean, he couldn't even pitch. Like
Eh,
they have a bunch of injuries. It sucks. Then you have obviously like with the Astros, the Mighty Tigers magic, bro. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the teams that have gone home already? Because even like the Astros too. I mean, now they got to wonder if they're gonna re-sign Bregman. He's out here tweeting,
Yeah.
thank you Houston already. So, I don't know if he's gonna go back. But yeah, any thoughts on the teams that have been sent home, man?
Yeah, I mean, Bregman played horrible from this jump of the year
Yeah.
too. So like, do
Mhm.
they even want him back? Like, it's not even about
Mhm.
now. Will I take Bregman at third base for the Chicago Cubs? See, so long, Isaac. Like, well, we could get it. That's a franchise player we talked about earlier. Um, but in all seriousness, Houston's Houston, and I think it was inevitable at some point for them to kind of fall apart. I didn't think it was going to be quite the following year after losing or after winning a World Series, so it is kind of strange. Um, but I will say this: I think for me, I wondered if the Braves had a little bit of magic in them when they brought back
Mhm.
the dogs, when they brought back Soler and the guys who came up clutch back when Acuna went down just a couple years ago. I was like, they're trying to recreate it. They want that lineup back. They want the lineup that won it all. But unfortunately, that's the beauty of October. Like some guys are going to be great, and then a year later, they just might not be on a roster. You know what I mean? And that's just really
Mhm.
what it comes down to. And then the other one, what was the other one? The Braves, the Orioles. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I did have something like on the Orioles. I think to your point, I think you're exactly correct. But why I'm even more frustrated is when you make a trade for Corbin Burns, you're all in, especially when he's on a 1 year deal. And for you to not make legitimate moves at the deadline, it kind of just screams that you don't want it. And I think for me, that's really what it came down to. Because when Corbin Burns is at CubsCon and we're all like cheering and screaming that the Cubs just signed Corbin Burns and Jed Hoyer is the greatest general manager of all time, just in a couple months, those fans are going to be very upset. So I don't know. That's just, and that was like kind of a joke, but kind of serious. Like there's teams that are going to pay Corbin Burns. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
for me, is that going to be the Baltimore Orioles? Probably not. Just because you have Adley, you have Gunnar, you have all these other guys that you're going to have to pay at some point in time. You see how younger guys are getting paid now. Are they going to pay Jackson Holiday if he starts, starting tearing it up? I don't know. Not at this point. But I think for me, it's underwhelming because you had the Royals and I had the Orioles going to the World
Mhm.
Series this year. And to not win a game, brother, that's tough. That's tough, especially when you have Corbin Burns on the mound for one of them. You got to win that game. You could have lost the series, but if you didn't win that game, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, one run in game one, or sorry, one run in those two games, I should say. And it was a solo shot. That's crazy, dude. Like,
Yeah.
in a team that's built like that, yeah, like I don't understand. Like I was like looking at the mentions for each team just to see what each team is feeling right now. And they want a lot of people want Brandon Hyde gone.
Yeah.
And
Hey, Cubs
yeah,
legend Brandon
yeah,
Hyde,
yeah, like Cubs legend Brandon Hyde, and I don't even think he's the problem,
World
honestly.
Series champion Brandon Hyde.
Yeah,
Let's talk about.
that dude's a champion, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think he's the problem. I think it's the front
No,
office that hasn't done enough to put winners out there. But
I would
yeah,
say too.
huh,
My bad, my bad.
no, you're good.
I was just Gunnar Henderson to me,
Hmm.
first half of the year. I mean, he's tearing it up. He's like an
Yeah.
MVP. Second half, he kind of just disappeared. So I think some guys just Adley had a down year. So I think a lot of guys just didn't show up either on that roster. So I
Hmm.
think that roster was good enough to go to the World Series. Would they have won it? I don't know. Um, and we've seen that time and time again. Like you would say, the Phillies last year, the Phillies didn't have the greatest pitching rotation, but they went deep. You know what I mean? And I think that's just, or even you look at the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks didn't have a great rotation, and that's just what it is. But they played well in October, and that offense really kept
Hmm.
them alive. So I don't know. Strange.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just the way that down the stretch that Adley Rutschman was playing. I mean, that's rough, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a dude that was an all-star. And I mean, you look at his splits. I mean, it's rough. I mean, in June he had a June he had a, I don't know, what is it? In July he had a 482 OPS. In August he had a 625. And in September he had a 578. Jesus.
It's just a lot of
So
inconsistency.
yeah. So that's why a lot of I saw a lot of Yankees fans dunking on him and saying like, dude, Austin Wells the best catcher in the AL. They got a case for it. I'm not gonna lie.
lying.
They got a case for it. Not gonna lie, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough. And the thing is, we can cook the Orioles all we want, but they'll be back next year and they'll have another opportunity to win it. But they just got to make some changes, bro. I mean, as you mentioned, they're not gonna pick Corbin Burns. I mean, they're just not.
Yeah.
If they do, I'll be surprised. I'll be shocked, and frankly, I'll be happy. But I don't think it's gonna happen. So
Why would you be happy, so?
oh, happy in the sense because I'm not on board as much as like everyone else. Oh, so Cubs got to sign Corbin. Cubs are not gonna sign Corbin Burns either. They're just not.
Yes, they are. Craig's gonna
Oh
convince
my
him.
god. Hey, I'll be happy if that happens, sure. But also, I feel like I'd rather have like Max Fried, to be honest. I know it's probably too many lefties. This is a whole conversation. This is a whole. We'll
We can
break
do
it down.
this.
We got more
all
time.
winner.
Yeah,
We
we
got
got all
all
winter.
winner.
We got all winter, especially when the playoff games are over. We got no other.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got no other choice but to talk
You'll
Cubs,
hear.
White Sox.
We'll
face.
have a whole segment on War Media, Mike Hughes, for 2 hours about Juan Soto coming to the Cubs.
Oh my! We're just gonna let you be on cam the whole time. Be like, all right, we'll be right back, and it's gonna be you just pitching to Juan Soto, and then we're gonna send it to Jed Hoyer so he can show Juan Soto, and then if the Cubs sign him, it's because of Mike Hughes. So
We'll get some obvious shirts. Juan Soto looks better at Wrigley.
yeah,
Like,
for real. Oh man, yeah, but I think that's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the At Bat Podcast. Like we said, episode 100 wasn't. I know we try to get guests out here, but it's been crazy times out here for everybody. So we'll try to get some stuff going later this month as part of the postseason coverage as well. We'll get Gabe back on here. Trying to get our boy Chris Pennant as well. We'll get Chris Pennant on here because it's been a minute since he's been on here talking White Sox. We'll get him talking some postseason ball. So we'll get more people on here. I hope you enjoyed the episode. For Saul Rodriguez, for Mike Hughes. Thank you very much.